We live? We live. All right. Welcome to another edition of the Live Caribbean Currency Podcast. And we have a full house tonight. We have a dope conversation that's about to take place with amongst professionals and friends. Guys, guess what? We are from the same place and we all have the same goals. So, our very, very special guest tonight is none other than Dr. Yamilsa Roebuck.
Hi, good night, everyone. Good night, good night. Thank you for having me. Anna,
Good night.
yeah, thank you.
Welcome. And you usually don't see this on her face on the screen too much because she was hiding for some strange reason. But tonight, this is a conversation she couldn't hide from. So I want to shout out our co-host and production manager, Sonii Koetter. I say right. I know that's Sonii from. I can't get you. You know what I mean? It's a brown man. But yeah.
Brown, right? It's okay. It's all good.
Stop violating. She's a cutter. Okay?
Koetter. It's Koetter.
Yeah, she's a cutter. Okay, she was a brown.
Yeah.
Okay.
She's a cutter now.
Okay.
You know how you guys are when you capture a woman, you want to give them your last name, right?
For sure.
Yeah.
As you should. Especially how Chad that defend the thing, he dissolve it.
You're right.
Cause Chad that defend it.
My bad, bro.
He do.
Okay.
I struggle with that when I was married. That was contention because I was obeying Roebuck. I was hyphenated. And lad, after a while, I was like, you know what? You gotta pick your battles. Ain't what the battle. Everybody will always know is a obeying, as a Frenchie. So let me just take the man last name and keep it moving.
Yeah, that's why I take it and keep it moving.
You gotta pick your battles. In life, you gotta pick out your battles. What's worth it and what ain't worth it.
Facts. Well, like I said, tonight we're gonna have a conversation. I like conversation about real estate. Actually, we have an event. Yamilsa is hosting an event this weekend. Yamilsa, tell them a little bit about the event that's happening.
Yes, we have an event this Sunday with loaded information. We have you, Kyle, who will be sharing information on how to fix your credit to get you prepared to do big things. Then I have an investor, investment loan banker who will be there to teach you the ropes of investing, how to get approved for the loan, how the whole process works from purchasing the property, using the money that they lend you to invest to the final product. And then you will have my team and I who will be teaching you the ropes of becoming a homeowner. And then I will have Damaris Williams, who is one of my loan officers, because Sonii is my other loan officer that I use, who will be teaching and also doing on-the-spot loan approvals and talking about all the different down payment assistance programs that she has access to.
Nice.
And doctor, I heard that you have because Kyle going to keep saying Yamilsa, right? I'm gonna say doctor because
Thank you.
I'm actually, you earned it. I'm actually a professional. People are posing, you know what I mean? So
listen, you can call me what you want, just don't call me collect. Okay?
yeah, that's a good one. I'm gonna use that. So doctor, I heard you got a full house. So that means a lot of people are very interested in what you have to say. You've been doing this for a very long time. How long have you been in the housing business market?
In real estate, actually, this is my full second year, but I hit it off with such a bang that my first year I was agent of the year. I made President's Club. I was a top earner, multi-million-dollar producer. So I have kicked it off so huge because my network is so big, and I always provide top tier service because it's referral based. But I've been in the market, but I've always had friends who have done real estate. One of my good friends who Kyle met, Nicole Hines, she's part owner of the investment company, of the investment mortgage company. So I've always learned from her. I've flipped homes my first year. Myself and Dara Matthews, who's a contractor from St. Thomas here, we have flipped homes. So I've been a licensed realtor. I don't even have a full 2 years. I'll have a full 2 years November 10th because I took the test, woke up a morning, I said, let me go take the test on my son's birthday. And if you know anything about the real estate test, it is one of the hardest tests to take and pass.
So doctor, what were you doing before? Because you just from looking at it, I thought like, well, she's been doing this for like 20 years.
No, I'm actually a school administrator. I've been in education for 25 years. I'm a school administrator, yes.
Okay. And then you just make a switch to real estate.
Yes. So I love to see my people become homeowners. I
Mhm.
love to see my people start gaining that equity. And I love to see them at the closing table in peace, never in pieces, when they realize this ain't hard at all.
Right.
It ain't hard.
So how was the transition? Okay, not even a transition, but I know you're based in the States,
Mhm.
and you say your people a lot, and I know you mean the whole diaspora of African Americans and beyond.
Definitely.
But definitely, I know you have a softer spot for Virgin Islanders because you're from Virgin Islands. Let me ask this really important question right now, because this is very important to me. Which Virgin Island are you from?
I am from St. Thomas, United States Virgin Islands. I'm from Tutu. I was a new Tutu girl.
Really, don't go too far now.
Pump the
That was
brakes.
good enough. You don't have to. Okay.
Yeah.
But okay, okay. To be honest with you, I always thought you was a Crucian.
Listen, I'd get a question at least once or twice a week. They'd be like, "You're a Crucian?" I'm like, "No, I'm from St. Thomas. My mother's from Panama. My
Okay.
mother's from Panama. My father's from St. Thomas. They met when he was stationed in the military in Panama.
Okay.
Yes,
Okay.
but my father's a half Frenchy, grandmother Tatola. So I don't get a Crucian all the time. You're a Crucian? I'm like, no, I'm not a Crucian. I went ahead the last name Roebuck. They think it's a Crucian, but that's the people who are married to last name. My last name is Obey. My short name is Obey.
Right. So let me ask you. So I wanted to ask that because I wanted to know, how does working and gaining experience in America, how does that translate to you helping? Because I know people from home come to America to find another way of life, but does that translate for you in helping people understand the market here so they could buy homes back home as well?
Oh, definitely. I'm a firm believer in if you can't afford a home, you can afford a home here. You buy the house here, you pull the equity, and then you buy your house in St. Thomas.
Okay.
Because we are at a disadvantage home because we don't have an array of programs like we have here. So you have to bring such a huge amount of money as your down payment. So that's what makes it very hard to become a homeowner, because you have to be able to qualify for the programs. And I always say home is for the rich and the poor, not the middle class. Because those programs, we don't qualify for them because they're going to say we make too much money. So Hair has a plethora of programs for nurses, for police, for teachers, so many programs with down payment assistance. And if you can't buy a house in St. Thomas, don't not buy a house. We have lenders that could get you a loan. Sonii could get you a loan even though you live in St. Thomas because you're a U.S. citizen. And you have the documentation. Sonii could get you a loan if you don't have a job, but you have bank statements, right, Sonii? She could get you a job if you're self-employed. So there's so many different programs that I think that people have tunnel vision. If it's saying this, it can't be this. And that's not true.
Right. I like that. Because I always say I do credit. But before I was doing credit, I was buying houses. And I'm a big champion for what it is you just said, because my first house, I buy it in Georgia in 2010, in Lithonia. I had been in Georgia one time. Funny story, the reason I ended up buying the house during that time, Obama had this tax credit thing. You buy a house, first time homeowners tax credit, he would give you $8,000. God, this was right after the recession. And the housing market had crashed and they were trying to encourage people to buy homes. So I from St. Thomas, I've been in Georgia once. I don't even know the Metro Atlanta area. I don't know nothing about nothing. My partner said, "The boy, they're gonna give you $8,000 if you buy a house, Yeah? I couldn't use $8,000. So I went ahead and buy a whole house. But my realtor talked me into like, yo, buy it, rent it out. I was working overseas at the time. So I buy my house in Lithonia, immediately rent it out 30 days later. And I owned that house for 8 years with tenants inside of it. I stepped foot in the house one time.
Yep.
Once. And I had tenants paying my mortgage for 8 years. And guess what happened in 8 years? I decided to sell it. A shitload of equity. Sorry for assuming a bunch of equity that I didn't even know. See, I wasn't knowledgeable back then that I am now. So I was like, man, I wonder what happened if I sell this house. And maybe I was like, this is how much you get. And this is all start counting the month. That's how this thing now work. Took that equity out, bought a bigger house. You know what I mean?
Have
And
to
it did that again.
cup a bigger bag.
Exactly. Dig that again just now, just sold that one. And then now about to make even bigger moves. So I just want to echo what it is you say when you say if you can't afford to buy home, buy elsewhere.
Buy
You
elsewhere.
don't
And then to piggyback on what you say,
have-
you bought the house when the recession had hit, right? And people have in their mindset that a recession coming, so that's when they're gonna buy. But you gotta remember, you ain't the only one thinking that way. They're gonna
Exactly.
be you and 50 other people want to buy one house, and you know what a house gonna sell for? Above asking price. And you're gonna go move into a house that you ain't gonna have no equity because you're gonna be belly up. So the goal is to buy now. The same way how groceries don't go down unless they're on sale, houses don't go on sale. So you
Exactly.
buy now, you marry the house, you date the rate.
Just right.
Buy now, get you a good realtor that can negotiate closing costs, and those closing costs could pay down your interest rate to get your mortgage cheaper. And when the interest rates drop, you refinance.
Finance.
But the longer you wait, you're gonna wait yourself out to ever being able to afford a house.
Exactly. I have clients that have been telling me that same thing. What is like, Cal, I don't think it's wise to buy a house right now. I said, why? Because interest rates are high.
Okay.
So I'd be like, you know what? If interest rates are high, it means housing prices are low. So if we wait till interest rates drop, is $1 million high waiting on the side for these interest rates to drop? When 1 million people try to buy 100,000 homes, what do you think will happen? There's not enough homes for everybody.
It's not enough. When I bought it's true. When I bought my first house in 2000, that was 23 years ago. The interest rate was 8.2%.
So this ain't unfamiliar to you at all.
And people were buying, and we bought.
Yeah.
It wasn't unfamiliar. And when we sold, like you say, we got so much money out of it that we was able, we split, we divorced, but everybody was able to walk away and get something bigger and better.
So yeah, and I'll add, there's definitely value in, buying real estate, whether you're investing, you have it as a primary purchase. There's always value in it. And I think once people, understand the value, it's a home, of course, that you're creating for your family, but people tend to, see the monetary value in, owning home as well. Because, that home equity could help you, pay off student loans. That home equity, could help you purchase a second property. That home equity that you have, could help you renovate your current home, and after you've purchased it, for a couple of years, you could sell that property. But there's definitely value in, real estate. And one of the things, because like this live is really driven towards, why we think people should buy real estate now. And, being a mortgage loan officer, I, see applications, regularly. So I can tell you what people are experiencing financially, what people are experiencing, with their jobs. And I actually joined a webinar a few days ago. And one of the things, that really stuck out to me in that webinar is, right now the government is saying, since the pandemic, jobs are at, the highest it's ever been. But when you really look at it, people aren't working full-time jobs anymore. People are working, multiple jobs. Like they're working 2 and 3 jobs just to be able to, maintain their lifestyle. And so when they come to me with these mortgage applications, they have, 2 and 3 jobs, and what I say to them is, listen, if you're in a position where you have multiple sources of income and you could buy now, because there's so many changes that are lined up to happen next year that's going to make it more expensive for people to buy, more difficult credit-wise for people to be able to qualify for homes. When that mortgage, and I actually had a buyer that said to me, because I pre-approved him, and after I pre-approved him, he said, I'm going to, I heard the market is going to crash and I'm going to just wait till, next year because I heard the interest rates are going to drop, I'm going to wait till next year to buy. And I said to him, think about how many people are saying the same thing, that they're going to wait till next year to buy. And Yamilsa, you could probably, because you're out on the field more, probably share how hard it is. Like if you have a buyer that you're shopping with and they have a pre-approval letter, how many times they actually get shot down and rejected before they have a seller that says, yes, you can buy this house.
Oh yeah.
And if you think it's tough now and you want to wait until, you know, interest rates drop to say, well, hey, I'm gonna buy now, you're gonna have 100 buyers trying to buy, you know, negotiate on the same property.
Okay, so what I just heard was because I don't know not one thing I talking about. Okay, so I laugh. So let me help me and help the viewers, because we have a credit specialist here, we have a loan officer, and we have a real estate agent. So I'm making $20 an hour. I have $1,500 in the bank, and my credit score is 550, and I come to see Dr. Yamilsa about buying a home. Can you walk us through how that guidance from you goes, how it attaches to Sonii, who's a loan officer, and if it gets to Kyle, because you feel like let's walk let's do that process for our life. Based on, you know, loosely with the loose information that we have. Just so, because for me, I tell you, like the scariest thing for me is, damn, I like this house. It's $250,000. I have a 550. I have 1,500 in the bank. I've been saving $10 a week for the last 4 years, and I'm looking to get a down payment. Exactly how would I be coached, pointed in the direction, so I don't feel overwhelmed, you know, and help calm my nerves, us in the Virgin Islands, when it comes to these big lump sums of money, we get frightened real fast.
Okay, so hey, Redman, I know you're interested in purchasing a home. So tell me a little bit about you. What is your credit score right now?
550.
Your credit score is 550. Okay. There are some programs that you could benefit from, but I would prefer for us to work on your credit to get it a little higher so your interest rate don't kill you. So I have a guy that I work with, Kyle. He's excellent. I'm going to refer you to Kyle. Kyle going to put you on a plan. While Kyle has you on a plan fixing your credit, you are going to be saving as much as you can monthly. I know you have $1,500. We might be able to get you a down payment assistance program based on where you live now or your profession. Okay. So that area of expertise will be Sonii. Sonii will look at everything and she will tell you how much you will be pre-approved for. We don't go out to see any houses until Sonii gives you a pre-approval letter that lets you know how much you can afford.
No, doctor, can I ask this question?
Yes.
Does pre-approve guarantee that I get a loan? Is it most likely I might get it, or like what is, because I had pre-approved credit cards. I had a pre-approved platinum Visa card just for pre-approved though. I never really get a real one.
Sonii, go ahead.
Yeah, absolutely. So pre-approved, what it does is it lets your real estate agent know that you're serious about buying, right? Once you receive the pre-approval, my job is complete up to the point of I've done a full financial analysis on you. I've been able to verify, you know, that your income, your credit, your debt to income ratio, like meets the qualifications for you to be able to buy. So if you make $20 an hour, right, I would be the one to say, based on how much money you make, based on what your credit score is, based on how much debt you have, right, your employment history, things like that, this is how much of a house you can afford. This is what your mortgage payment will be. With this information, I want you to take it to Yamilsa, because this is going to let her know that you're serious about buying. And then she will take you out, you know, to look at homes.
Okay.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Move until a pre-approval letter. So we go out, you get your pre-approval letter. We go out, we look at houses, right? You fix your credit, everything. We got your pre-approval letter. We go out, you and I meet. I do an onboarding session so I can let you know about the home purchasing process from beginning to end. My goal is for you to arrive at the closing table in peace, not in pieces, okay? Because there's some people who fall apart before they even arrive to the closing table. So you have your pre-approval letter. You and I are going to go out to look at home. Once we see a home that you like, we'll put an offer in. If the offer is accepted, then we move forward with all the different steps that we will go into later on when we do our next show. Okay? But there's different steps, intricate steps that you have to be aware of and be knowledgeable of. And I am there to guide you through everyone. Okay. But the most important things, credit, a little money in the bank, and your pre-approval letter.
Right.
Okay? You don't have to have a lot, but you need to have enough. And you need to have enough that you can make the moves that you want to make. And when you move in your house, you want to be able to furnish your house too, right? So you need to be able to have enough that you could be comfortable in your house. You know, I want to make sure I share this too. Everybody don't want to be a homeowner, and that's fine. I respect that. Everybody have their choices. Some people just want to be able to pay their rent and not be headache with fixing nothing in a house, right? But once you do the calculation and you see how much you're paying a month in rent, and if you've been paying that same person for 5 to 8 years, 10 years, you really have contributed a significant amount to their house.
Right.
To their equity, to the value in their home.
Their home.
Yes.
For them to becoming a homeowner, full right, owner body.
Right.
In return, what was the return on your investment? Nothing, because when they want to put you up in St. Thomas, or they only got to give you a 30-day notice.
Right.
Hopefully you won't get cussed out like my tenant cussed me out and call me white and that kind of thing. Because you know, so I gotta do them 30 days. I give him 45, I would be nice, but yeah.
So my next question is, and this is, I'm a slickster, okay? So if I go to Sonii and she tell me I get $300,000 pre-approved, and I know I wanted a house for like $290, I might like, hey, listen, Yamilsa, like, let's
no, Dwayne.
You can't do that.
No 20.
No.
Let me tell you why you can. Let me tell you why you can't do that. Because Sonii could approve you for 300,000. We see a house for 250 that you love, but the bank appraisal comes back at 240. Sonii is only going to finance the house for 240. And if you really want a house, you gotta come up with a difference. But that will not be a smart move, because you'll be starting upside down. I did have somebody ask me, if I get approved for 300,000 and I got a house for 270, where the $30,000 going? It ain't going to you. It's going back to the bank. You understand?
Right. So I can't do that. I can't get pre-approved for 300 and spend 220.
You'll be in jail for mortgage fraud. Go ahead.
And use the rest of the money to furnish my house.
No.
Okay, well, it's an air up bed then. You hear nothing.
No,
we walk our way up to buying a bed.
No, there is so FHA actually does have a loan program that would allow you to finance renovation costs into your mortgage, which is really, really cool. You know, so it's like there's so many loan programs out there to help people. But I always say you never know what's available for you if you don't make that first step. If you don't make that first step and call me and say, you know, Sonii, I want to buy a house. My timeline is a year from now. Please help me and tell me what is it I need? What is it I need to do to be able, you know, to get pre-approved? And I do that, you know, because I offer free consultations, you know, to my buyers. And, you know, people call me all the time and they're like, listen, this is where my score is. I want to be able to buy in 6 months, or I need to be out my house before the end of the year, or, you know, by May next year. Tell me what is it I need to be able to buy. And I think, you know, with myself, Yamilsa and Kai, like we work hand in hand. You know, if we don't work directly with each other, what we do works hand in hand, because credit is significantly important. Like credit is the number one aspect when it comes to buying. It's not just your score, right? So we don't care if you have an 800 credit score, but you have 15 late payments, you may not qualify for a mortgage because of those late payments, right? Because lenders will look at it and say, oh, you have a really, you know, high credit score. How did you get there with these 15 late payments? 15 late payments tells the lender if we see that you're making payments late to other lenders, how do we know you ain't gonna make late payments with us? Like, what you're showing us is you can't be trusted, right?
Yeah, but you get a change though. They get a change. Ain't a missed payment, they get a change. So
But they don't care. They don't care.
They get late though, and it says a lot about, you know, I always say your credit is tied to your character. You know, you could always fix your character if you want to. You could always fix your credit if you want to. But don't wait until you need your credit to fix it, because cash might be king, but credit is power. Okay, we could walk in any place, those of us with good credit with no money, and get whatever we want. Okay, so always make sure you respect and honor your credit the same way you respect and honor your name, because that's important.
So what I always say, right? I get clients. I advertising that I doing credit for 2-3 years now, and some of them will like this post, share the post, scroll past it, and they would call me the day their car get repo to say, Kyle, I want another car. You go fix my credit by tomorrow. And I'd be like, bro, so you didn't know like you were having credit problems a year ago, 6 months ago, 8 months ago? So for all you guys on the live and watching, please, if your credit ain't the best, don't wait till your credit is in shambles before you call. Like, let's get it good. Let's get it right. Give it some time so that I could pass you on to Yamilsa. Yamilsa could pass you on to Sonii, and then we could all meet at the closing table.
And I can attest for Sonii. I can definitely attest for Sonii. Sonii will put you on a recipe plan, so you can come out cooking. Okay? And she checks in with you, and she sends me a report every Wednesday. So she checks in with you because she's pushing. You know, she's pushing for you. She wants you to win. So, and honestly, she has more patience than me. Okay.
So here's my next question. Backstage, you were talking about, I guess, real estate and home ownership, right? And for my ears, real estate is all of it, right? Which will be true. Okay. But me now, as a person, I feel like this. I don't want to buy a house unless I can put a woman in it. I don't really know what to do in the house other than sleep and use the bathroom, right? But I want property. Okay. So, but you did say it don't make no sense really when you do the calculation to rent for 5-8 years because you really point equity in somebody else's thing. So, but I don't want to own a house because I don't have a woman to put in the house, right? To do like the domestic stuff that I just really ain't good at. Okay, so can I come? I go to Kyle, I fix my credit. I go to Sonii, and would it be smart or wise to invest in real estate while I'm in an apartment? Or would it be wiser for you to invest in a home and then try to invest in real estate?
First of all, you are going to own a house because I said so. You are. Whatever income you have, I told you this, you are going to be in a house. Like, it's going to happen for you.
Doctor, you could imagine coming to my house with no furniture in it.
It doesn't matter.
From the hotel I was the night before, I get mismatching bowls. I ain't gonna couch to put no guessing.
We've all been there.
Hanging on the wall.
Listen, it's something that you could call your own.
The TV, I walk the toilet, I walk the shower, I walk. They got racks. They get towel, one for each week.
It doesn't matter. Listen, Red, if you in a house, which you are going to be because you're on step 1, and you will move to step 2 and then get to step 3, and then we're going to cross the finish line, right?
Right.
But when you in a house, I'm going to tell you, I don't care if you have furniture in a house. I don't care if you have running water. I don't care if you have, we from the ghetto, okay? I don't care what you have in the house, as long as you pay your mortgage, bro, and you have a roof over your head, you're gonna be in a house, okay? Right? Because it's not just the comfort of being a house, right? But you have heirs,
right?
You have heirs that could inherit that value. You know what I'm saying? Right. My husband, he works on old school cars, right? Low riders for a living. He has a car right now that's worth like $100,000. And when he bought it, it was like, this guy's a piece of shit. Like, what are you going to do with it? He fixed it up himself. And how he fixed it up is like a show car. And the first thing he says is, the reason I invest in this car is because the value it has in it, right? I'm never going to sell it. But if anything happened to me, it's will to my children. So if they decide they want to sell it, that's where the money is. It's in the property. Right. So if they decide they want to sell it, they could get 100,000 easy for that car and then invest it however they need to. And I think that's the perspective that people really need to look at things when they're, considering investing in any kind of property or making any type of investment. It's long term. It's not a quick flip.
And you know what, man? If you don't want to buy a house, buy land. We ain't building for land. Any more land coming, what here is what here.
Right.
So if you don't want to buy a house, get a piece of land, let it sit, because I will guarantee you somebody gonna come to you for that piece of land to build their house.
Okay.
And one thing for sorting,
and two things
you can't leave your children no apartment.
Right.
You can't leave them no government.
So, but the question was, if I'm ready to go into an apartment, well, excuse Sonii, Blackhawk, put your thumb over Sonii for a little bit, okay? Let's break it like this. Currently, right now, most recommended getting a house or investing in real estate.
If you
go ahead, Yami.
So I don't think that because you don't have somebody who will come fix up the house, that shouldn't be a reason to not buy a house, because you're not buying a house to be with somebody. You're buying a house to leave a legacy for your children. Okay? So what you do is you buy the house, you have a legacy for your children, and then when you get your significant other, you buy a house with your significant other. And that's when you start building your real estate portfolio.
Right. Okay.
But I wouldn't negate from beginning to build my wealth based on me being booed up or not. You could Google, you could Pinterest how to decorate a house, everything.
Right.
Redman been to my house with a pretty house with no furniture in it. He been there. All I have is stools and paper cups and paper plates.
Yeah, but you going to grow. I know you going to go and buy stuff. Me, I would never. Because I'm telling you, I get it though. What you said makes sense. Get a house. It's part of your portfolio. And then you could get another house or bring somebody else into the house. I just decorating a house. It's gonna have mismatching furniture.
I will decorate your house for you.
Oh, cool.
Okay.
Awesome.
So if that's what's stopping,
it's gonna look like a sports bar if you leave it up to me.
I'll decorate the house for you. So
we have a viewer that asked, when we was talking about actually purchasing a home, and we was talking about saving up and getting your credit together and stuff. We have a viewer that asks, how much is enough? What's enough? And enough is, credit wise, even though government-backed loan says you can have a minimum of a 580 credit score with 3.5% down, or a 570 credit score with 10% down. I always recommend shooting for a 640 or better. The reason why, higher interest rates, just it looks like you're less riskier, right? The lenders, they don't have to worry about you so much because they can, credit is really a trust system. So if they look at your credit and they see you have, a really, really good credit score, then they know they can trust you. And the higher your score, the less riskier you are, the better interest rate, you're going to get. So as far as credit goes, I always say aim for a 640 or better. But with government-backed guidelines, they accept, as low as a 580. As far as money, I recommend clients to have 5% of the purchase price. And the reason I say 5% is because you just never know what to expect, right? The first thing I always say to my buyers is, even if you can get a loan and have to bring no money to the table, when you move into the house, you're going to want new carpet, new furniture, new fridge, new stove. You might want to upgrade the bathroom. There's things you're going to want to do. If you're able to get a loan program that has a down payment assistance, meaning the lender covers your down payment, if the seller isn't able to or doesn't want to, because it's happening a lot right now, pay any closing costs, or Yamilsa isn't able to negotiate closing costs for you, your closing costs can be anywhere from $2,500 to $10,000, maybe more, right? So I always say like 5 to 10% of your purchase price is really safe. She says, if your score is poor and you fix it, how long should you wait to buy? So I don't leave that up to Kyle, because I think it depends on what's being fixed on your credit report. But from a lender perspective, I need something clean. Like, I don't need late payment. All your late payments within the last year have to be gone. Like, I need maybe a minimum maybe one, late payment. Collections, I need them, to be cleaned up. Charge-offs are acceptable, but they can affect your debt to income ratio. So if they can be gone as well, I need those gone. Like, a lot of times when I call Kyle, he'll say, Sonii, what do you want me to do with this credit report? And I'll tell him, give it back to me clean. I need it clean.
And my thing to be like, I hear Sonii say you need a 640 or 620. When my clients come to me, right? And they say, yeah, I was at 610. I just try and get to a 640 to buy a house. I don't say, how much money you don't make? Well, I don't make about $40,000. You know what kind of interest rate you going to get as a 640? My boy, you going to get priced out for whatever it is you want. You're going to end up getting a loan for $160,000. Sit down, fix your credit, and let me get you up to the 700, 740s. So now you could take your pick at what house you want within your budget.
And when you're in the 700s, that's easy. Like, we could go to any lender and say, listen, I have a 740 credit score. You're looking at getting probably one of the lowest interest rates on the market. You're looking at maybe even walking away from the closing table with money, not having to pay any money. So absolutely, the higher your score, the better.
And if I could add this too, when you are completing your application for a loan, you have to be upfront and honest, because the lender is going to find, the underwriter is going to find out everything. And that is going to be a hard pause, a hard stop, and the whole loan fall apart. Even though if you think it don't matter because it was 2 years ago, you still have to tell the lender everything, because we're going to waste time finding out, number one, and then Sonii trying to correct and write our kind of stuff up to the underwriter to get it fixed. And the most important thing, in the process of buying a house, for when you go under contract to closing, don't buy a car. Do not go and take out a loan for a car. You take out a loan for nothing. You need a car, you buy the car the afternoon if you close on the house. But you don't do it in between. And, in the meantime and between time, you don't. You sit and suckle yourself. You let Sonii do her thing. You let me do my thing. You let Kai do his thing. These are experts in this.
Yeah. And there's no length of time, because she asked how long do you wait after fixing your credit. There's no length of time that you have to wait. As long as you come with a clean report, and your credit report doesn't show any, late payments within the last 12 months, your collections and stuff are cleaned up, then, we could take a look at it and go from there. But, Yamilsa, a lot of people don't know the process of actually, going through the mortgage process, because you mentioned underwriting. And sometimes, like, when I mention that to buyers, they're like, huh? Because they think they could just go to Kyle, fix their credit, come to me, and then I give them the money and, they buy a house. And it doesn't work like that. Like, there are so many guidelines that have, underwriting instructions and things that, lenders look at specifically everything. They're going to call, let me tell you, they're going to call whoever you was renting from before to ask them what kind of tenant you was. They're going to ask if you've been making your payments on time. They're going to call your previous mortgage company and find out, what was the status of your mortgage. And things like that are not available on your credit report for me to see. You know what I mean? They're going to call your employer and find out how long have you really been on the job? Because you have to have, hell yeah, because you have to have 2 years of employment. So if you tell me one date on the application and think you're gonna get away with it, because this happened to me before. When your loan gets to underwriting, they're gonna call your job and they're gonna be like, so we need you to verify the dates of employment, and we need you, to verify this employer's salary. Should you put your rental payments on your credit report?
But before you answer that, you had asked Dr. Yamilsa a question.
I did?
Yeah.
Why ask her?
I don't remember.
He's that idiot. I asked, the question was, because I was trying to address the viewer, but the question was, how long should you wait after fixing your credit to buy a house?
I have a question too that somebody texted me to ask, and the question was, why do they consider a second home why do they consider purchasing a second home a second mortgage if I never had a mortgage because my first house was bought cash?
I think it has to do with primary. Oh shit! You go ahead, Sonii. Well,
no, what you were saying?
I think it has to do with primary residence. So when it comes to that part of things, coming second home, you can only live in one. So which one is your primary and which one is your rental?
Exactly.
So you can't qualify for certain loans that's supposed to be for first-time home buyers, even though you buy your house cash. But yeah, you own that property. So a lot of what a lot of people that require or look at that type of stuff is for people that look sussing out who's a first-time home buyer from who's not, because some of the programs are geared towards first-time home buyers.
True first-time home buyers.
When I purchased in the Virgin Islands just now, because my place of employment is in Georgia, it was considered, initially he was going to do it as a second home, right? So the percentage I had to pay down would have been less.
Yes.
But I told him I did not want to lie because I can't prove a second home because I don't have a job there.
And it would have fell through anyway.
Yeah, my job is here. So I said, go ahead and give me my...
They would have found out.
Yeah. They would have found out because I would have claimed my taxes. So I said, go ahead and run me my 25%. Let me go ahead and put on that money because I ain't going in no orange. Orange is my favorite color, but I ain't doing orange with numbers in the front for mortgage fraud. I'm not doing that. But it has a lot to do with verifying and being able to produce those documents to prove that, yes, you do live in two places. If I get my license in St. Thomas to sell home, and I'm just an agent, a realtor in Georgia and a realtor in St. Thomas, I could then show proof that I go back and forth, and I could split my time and file my taxes in Georgia and in St. Thomas. But it was a little too complicated now because my place of employment is in Georgia. My contract for Atlanta Public Schools is in Georgia. So I was like, I didn't want to get into all that day.
Yeah. Okay. And that reminds me, because when I met with your team, that was one of the things we talked about, and it just reminded me of that point. If you're wanting to make an investment in a property, right? Guidelines are changing effective next month to where you don't have to put down as much money on an investment property anymore, especially if you're a first-time investor. You only have to put down 5%, which is really, really good. That's like really, really good. So if you're listening in and you want to know more about investing in property in real estate, yeah, absolutely. Yeah, reach out to me and, I can go over with you whether you're ready now or you're thinking about doing it later. But I can share those, guidelines with you to help get you to that point.
I wanted to run some numbers quickly, Sonii, Kyle, and Redman. I was just doing a little calculation here, right? And I was looking at the average rent home. So the average rent home for 2-bedroom, 1 bath could run anywhere from $1,200 to $1,500, right? So you want $1,200 a month, 12 months, you're paying $14,000 in rent 1 year, right? Average renter is 3 to 5 years. So let's say you've been renting this 2-bedroom, 1 bath apartment for 5 years at $1,200. You have paid $72,000 to your landlord. Okay, $72,000 to your landlord, which could go towards your own.
You. which should go towards you.
I always say this. Everybody is invested in real estate. It just matters which side you want. You're paying your mortgage or paying somebody else's mortgage. So whenever I go in a room, not whenever, but sometimes I go in a room and be like, yo, who is a real estate investor? And only like 2 or 3 people raise their hand and be like, all line. Because if you're paying rent, you're investing in real estate.
But it's yours.
You're paying to a landlord. You investing in real estate. You're investing in his property.
Absolutely. Exactly.
So I don't care what interest rates are. I do care. But when it comes to owning over renting, owning is expensive or whatever the case may be. But guess what? You paying it down. Your money going towards something. If I rather pay $1,700 a month to own something than pay $1,500 a month and just flush that money down my landlord toilet.
And Kyle and Sonii could confirm this with me. One of the beautiful things about being a homeowner is when tax time comes and you get to write off that interest.
Exactly.
Okay? You get to write off that interest because that have saved me from, I don't got to pay taxes every year, but have saved me from not paying a lot of taxes.
Mm-hmm.
You know, when you got to do it, you're able to write that off, or you're able to write off different things that are associated with a home. So at the event that Kyle and I are sponsoring on Sunday, the real estate investor will teach you about getting a loan, about putting a home in an LLC, about being able to write off the home on your taxes, which is what I did with the home in St. Thomas. I went ahead and I purchased it in an LLC. So then I can have my limited liability and then I can write it off in my taxes. So it's so many things that you can do with real estate that will give you more money in your pocket, especially when it comes to writing it off for tax purposes.
So Doctor, can you just expand a little bit on where we can find, if there are available seats for the is it a conference you and Kyle have, where we can find it? Where is it located? What time does it start?
So it's going to start at 12 o'clock. From 12 to 4, it's a brunch. We're having brunch. We'll have food.
And which day? On a Sunday?
It's a Sunday from 12 to 4, and it's called the Buyer's Brunch. We'll have mimosas and everything too. And actually, let me go ahead and give a huge shout out on behalf of Kyle and I to Simone, the Cupcake Genie, because she is the one who has organized everything. Everything is going to be her, the decor, everything. Yes.
Sunday in the South, in fall, is football season.
12 to 4?
12 to 4.
They'll be fine.
I just missed the whole game, Doctor.
Who's your team? The Falcons? You ain't missing
they're playing tonight. Actually, my team is playing right now while I on this live.
Who's your team?
The Buffalo Bills.
Oh, okay, right.
Easy. Relax. Let's not do this now. This is about real estate. Okay.
So you can come.
I got a question.
Come on Sunday.
I got a question. Not really a question, but I know like sometimes we could get so carried away in the real estate jargon because we understand it so well. And it could sound like Spanish or Chinese to some of the viewers. So we talk about equity a whole lot. Can you just explain to the viewers what equity is, what it means in simpler terms?
So equity is, so you buy a house for $150, right? You've been paying down on your house, paying down on your house, paying down your house. You pay down your house to $100,000, right? So you have that $50,000 difference, but you also have how much the house is worth now. So you buy a house for $150, you pay down to $100,000, you have that $50,000 equity, but when you do your home appraisal, the house appraised at $300,000. How much equity do you have now?
$250.
$250. Okay.
So that means I could use that money for other stuff.
You can't use all of it. What is the percentage breakdown, Sonii? Is it 80% you could use of what the house, the equity, or is it 90%? There's a percentage you can take out, right? And you could go ahead and then buy another house. Okay.
Now, how long do you have to wait after you buy your first house before you could go ahead and get your second house? You have to stay there for like a year, 2 years.
Hey, money talks. If you purchase your first residence, right, as a primary residence, and within the next couple months you want to buy a second house, you'll have to, buy it as, an investment property or a second home or a vacation home. But at that point, that second home is going to come with a bigger down payment.
So pretty much what that means is that doesn't mean like you probably won't qualify for a lot of the first time home buyer program.
Correct. Yes.
Every loan is designated for something, so it's different. So if you just want to buy a house, you ain't want no restrictions, you ain't want nothing, you're gonna go conventional.
Yes.
And conventional requires a higher down payment. I know you could do it wherever you want with a house once you pay that high down payment.
Because there's down payment programs, but it's gonna come with a lot of restrictions.
Whenever somebody giving you money or somebody doing something or whatever, no, they have a lot of say in what you can and can't do with that property. So if, like for instance, I went in the military, so I get a VA loan. A VA stands for Veterans Affairs Loan. So that's a loan that the military put forth for veterans and to help them get home ownership. So when the requirement, I don't have to put no money down as a veteran, but I have to move in that house within 30 days of closing. I cannot rent that house out to nobody else. I cannot buy a house in a commercial area. Like if I want to buy a house like in a hotel, like if they're selling property in a hotel and stuff, no, you can't live there. You gotta go live with other people in the house. So it's a lot of restrictions. Conventional mean you put on your 25% and you do whatever the hell you want.
So I have a question for myself, but before I ask the question, because I think the question I have is very important. One of our viewers, Vanessa, has 2 questions. Well, she had 3 questions, and I'm going to ask these 3 questions, and we're going to go through these 3 questions. The first question was, so if my parents left me a home, does that affect me?
I mean, positively.
Positively. That's an asset. That's an asset you have now.
Exactly. Okay. The only way it would affect you is if like they ain't paid the property tax in 15 plus years. Okay. And now the property in your name and the government saying, hey, you owe us this property tax. Okay. But aside from that, if you up to date on the property and they are up to date on the taxes and your mother give you a house, right, the first thing is to get appraised to find out how much it's worth. And then the appraiser will say, wow, this is worth $250,000. Congratulations, you're $250,000 richer.
Yeah.
Okay, that's how that happens.
So her next question, and thanks for that answer, because I wanted to know that too. Because a lot of us get left back property living in the Virgin Islands, right? So the next question is, what about the rental payments? Should that be reported on your credit?
It should. It is positive. It should.
So 2 things now. It have ways to do it. And this is going into the credit side, and I'm going to talk a lot more about this. I just want to skim on the top. I'm going to talk a lot more about this and come Sunday at the buyer's brunch with Yamilsa, Simone, the whole crew. Okay, so I have some apartment complexes report your credit payment. I mean your rental payment to the credit bureaus. They started doing it now. The reason they started doing it was because if you had moved out, if you get evicted and you didn't pay them man, whatever it is they say that they were supposed to get at the end, they were reporting that to your credit report. So it's only fair if you're going to report when they don't pay to the credit bureaus, you should report when they do pay. And that's going to help your credit, because the thing that helps your credit is consistent on-time payments. So wherever you could show consistent on-time payments, whether that's from your rent, whether that's from your utility bills, whether that's from your phone bill, wherever you could get that reported to your credit report once you're on time, because they're going to see it. So you ain't want them to see it if you're late. So you got to be on time. So that's a good thing, getting your rent reported, because it's going to add credit history to your
It's going to add credit history. And another thing too, Kyle, that we need to touch on, people that be so proud to say, I ain't got no credit card. No credit is bad credit. No credit is bad credit. Yes.
Nope. So people look at it like, can't me get no credit card? They should give me this money. Can't me get no credit card? If you never borrow from nobody in your life,
why would
I never see you never show me or anyone else that you're capable of taking some money and then paying it back, you gonna come ask me for money. I don't know if you're gonna pay back. And then another thing that it shows when you don't have any credit is that you're afraid of credit.
Yeah,
you're afraid of it. You're afraid to borrow money from somebody because you don't trust yourself.
You don't trust yourself
to pay it back. You don't trust yourself enough to be able to pay it on time. So if you're looking so bummy and scary to borrow money from people, who the heck gonna borrow from you? I ain't gonna lend to you if I see that you never lend from nobody else, because I might be the first jackass that you default on. So
And with that, Kyle, you know, something that we need to make sure that people understand, right? It don't matter how much money you make, right? If you don't know how to manage money, you will never make enough. Kyle could clean up your credit today, and you're going to see Kyle next year again because you don't know how to manage your money. So you have to really have some deep self-reflection and self-awareness and self-acceptance to say, you know what, I got a problem managing my money. Let me reach out to somebody to assist me. Because if not, you will always be in a rat race. You will always be struggling, and you will understand the importance of living a good life. Everybody deserves, ain't nowhere in the Bible that says struggle. Nowhere it says struggle. Everybody deserves a good life with luxury. Okay, but you have to make sure you could manage that to maintain it.
Well, doctor, a couple people did struggle. Jonah did struggle with a whale. Okay, so but before I go on, let me say this, right? And it is important to
what he named with a lion.
Man, it's important to like Daniel in the Lion's Den was a real struggle. Not losing the wife because she looked back was a real struggle.
But that was his choices. That was his choices that made him struggle. Struggling financially. Struggle is not a badge of honor. Yeah, but struggle is not a badge of honor.
Samson.
But struggle because he was in the water. Not financially. You were out in the water and a storm hit you. What you doing?
So there's more questions to ask, but I want to say this real quick before I go on to ask these questions because I still have my question too. I feel like it's important to have these discussions. It's important that, and I love that we're having these discussions. My first foray into credit was exactly this. Hey, Redman, you know you could get a credit card for real? Yeah, how much I could get? You could get $10,000. Okay, so like if you don't pay back, you're gonna go to jail? No. Oh, well, let's give me the credit card because I don't know them people. And this is young me, 20-something years old. That was my first introduction to credit and how it works. You know what I mean? Like, and this is just like on the street with a friend. You know what I mean? And that totally just threw me all the way off course. So I'm very appreciative now that we're really having these conversations about credit, loan, real estate, and home buying. Because there's young people that watch us now that we have this internet. Back in 2002, we didn't have the internet. We didn't have social media the way we have now. So we couldn't reach young people. You're only reaching people in your age group. So the fact that we're here and we're all on this live represent a generation of people, and we could speak across those generation. I want to thank you guys for even being a part of all of it and in involving yourself into this this field. So I want to get to the questions because Vanessa, she has some questions, right? So she said there's two questions. I'm gonna say the two questions, right? She wanted to ask, she said, when can you use your equity? Do we have to tell to report it, or do we have to report it ourselves? And do you guys offer assistance of management? And I am assuming that she means money management. So it looks like there's a question there. She asked three questions that applies to all three of you. Floor is you guys.
Sonii, go ahead. Equity question.
Yeah, so the question for me is when you can use equity, I'm assuming. As soon as you have it available in the house, and it's enough for you to use, you know.
Explain to them how equity grows. Explain to her how, like, what happens when a house gets equity in it. Because if she buy it at 200,000, tomorrow it's not going to be worth 250. So explain that process, and that might help her understand it a little bit.
But wait, before you explain that process, guys, this is really a light conversation in preparation for Sunday, and a deeper. And then this is for the viewers, not the guests. But I want you viewers to know that I'm encouraging you. We still have time. There's still seats open. If you live in the Atlanta area, please find your way to contacting Sonii, contacting Kyle, and Dr. Yamilsa about getting to this conference. There's other guests there that are very skillful at what they do. So we're gonna skim over some of these things a little bit and just give you not the raw, the deepness of it. So I just really want to say that before she even goes into it. So you guys, when you're looking for more, we really encourage you to go amongst your other peers and listen to these guys teach us how to be successful at home ownership in a country that home ownership is very important. It gives you power. It puts you in position when it comes to voting. You pay attention to politics more when you own a home because it affects you. And you pay attention to politics more, you're going to end up being involved in a lot of other things that helps you grow your wealth and understand how this country works. So sorry for the long monologue. Please answer the question.
Yeah, that was a long monologue, the boy.
Got the doctor thing up.
Yeah, I was actually, going to, because a viewer, she has a lot of really, really good questions. And, it sounds like she has some real interest in the home ownership process. And, I really think based on the questions she's asking is, maybe, insightful for her to join the program on Sunday if she can. But if not, what I want to do, Vanessa, is drop my contact info in the comments. And you can reach out to me. I do, free consults. You can call me, text me anytime and ask, questions as it relates to a mortgage. You don't have to be a professional. You don't have to have the perfect credit just yet. But it is part of, what I do. Like, I love, helping clients, get to the point of where they want to be. So I'll drop my contact info in the comments for you. And then I also posted our Caribbean Currency podcast email. You're welcome to send an email there, and we can get in touch, and I can, answer a lot of these questions you have as it relates to, purchasing, home ownership, equity, and things like that.
Boom. As far as the other part where we were talking about, where Vanessa mentioned help with her planning and her finance spending and all that stuff. So my program, I don't just, like Yamilsa said, if you don't understand money, if you don't understand how to manage it, how to spend it, and I fix your credit, I am doing you a disservice, because I'm going to fix your credit. You're going to go out there, you're going to run it back up, you're going to get into bad, maybe even worse shape than you was in when you came to me, and then now, like, you're drowning. Mm-hmm. So while I'm fixing your credit, simultaneously, I am teaching you different wealth building strategies, different ways to manage your money, different ways to hold on to your money. And these are a lot of the things I'm going to go over on Sunday at the buyer's brunch. But really and truly, the whole program, it takes you, it starts with credit, and then it takes you to that place where you're financially literate, you understand money, you understand. If you don't have, the easiest way to understand credit, especially when it comes to spending, is if you don't have it in your bank account, you don't have it on a credit card, no matter what a credit card say. So if your bank account say $100, on your credit card, you can't spend no more than $100. And that's the only way you ain't gonna get in trouble. Okay? When people are getting in trouble is when they get a credit card for $2,000 and they only get $100 in the bank account, and they swiping because they get $2,000. But at some point in time, you ain't gonna be able to swipe no more, and then you're gonna get a bill, and then all you get is $100 in your bank account. So
that's negatives. Yeah. So exactly. and I just tell people, if you have if you owe $10,000 on your credit card and you have $10,000 in the bank account, consider yourself broke.
Mm-hmm. And I also say you can't save if you owe people.
So let me ask this is my final question, right? Talk to me about co-signing. There's some people that's going to say, oh God, I'm going to get my girlfriend co-sign with me. My mommy going to co-sign with me. My partner who are in the military way, he going to co-sign and hold it down and tell the situation. Tell me the detriments of co-signing, and tell me the only time you should allow a co-sign.
Who want to take that? Sonii, you want to take it or you want me to take it?
I mean, it's a valid question. Yeah, go ahead.
You like Dr. Yamilsa voice. It sounds crucial.
When it comes to co-signing, I don't co-sign for nobody. Okay? Mm-hmm. Absolutely nobody. The only time I will co-sign is for my children to get a student loan, but I prepared myself so they don't have student loans, because I had a lot of student loans. And student loans is a monkey on your back that you can't wait to get out. And I was fortunate to get my student loans forgiven last year or the year before when President Biden did the entire student loan forgiveness and all of that. But I ain't co-signing for nobody because nobody ain't gonna care about your credit as much as you do. Okay? So co-signing is a negative. I would add you as an authorized user and keep the card before I co-sign for you. I will help you build up your score so you could go and get what you need. So I'm gonna add you as an authorized user. I can keep the card. And then when you get your score, you need it to be going about your business. But I ain't co-signing for nobody.
Okay.
You know, much of my client them come to me with mash up credit and they paying for a car that they never see. And it's like, I need to get off my credit report with a car. She's not paying on it. Where she is. She gone. Oh, you get it. She had me to co-sign on it and she will make you all at the time. So I co-sign on it. So she and her next man right wrong in the car that you got to pay for. Right?
Yeah, that sounds like a VI man story. Real result.
Don't do it. Do not do it.
I the next one she writing wrong with.
That's not an easy ask. That's not a simple ask. If somebody come to you and say, hey man, I need to co-sign, and they say, that's not something small that you don't ask people. Right. Like that's not something to do. So
and I want to say this here, Redman. Okay, I am older, you know, but
I'm beautiful.
Me,
so
thank you.
Yeah.
But to me, right, I don't Sonii probably could attest to this with me. To me, it is so sexy when a man have his shit together. Okay? To me. Because you want to know that a man is leading you, leading the household, leading the family. You can't lead me if your credit mash. You can't lead me if you don't have foresight for us to build together our wealth. We can't build by being tenants forever. We can build by buying and growing what we have. But to me, when a man has his act, his finances, and his vision and goals together, to me, that's so damn sexy.
Okay. So what I want
okay.
I mean,
Sonii, you don't have
the ugly doctor is okay. You know, it's fine. I understand. Sonii did say she was gonna get me the house. So I on my way to look in sexy.
Okay.
I close.
Plus you gotta take out that king.
But thank you. This is I'm wearing probably this is a Virgin Islanders t-shirt. Do not. Okay. So again, I want to emphasize to the viewers one more time. Sunday, 12 to 4, Dr. Yamilsa, Kyle, and other people from the Virgin Islands community and abroad, outside the Virgin Islands community, have the buyers brunch. I hope you guys show up and you go there. I mean, I want to go there for the credit, but I really want the food. You know what I mean? But that's just me. I'm different. I'm a little fat. So, and then also, Kyle has his credit source business that helps with credit repair, financial management. Sonii is also a loan officer. I can't tell you that they work together as a team, but they work hand in hand. They know each other. They work very well. They come with very good and great recommendations here in the Atlanta area. And they're also able to, don't be afraid just because you're not in Atlanta and you're in Alive. Please contact these people, gather information from them. Maybe they point you in the right direction with other realtors in your area, outside your state. They have their own networks as well, people that they work with. And never before seen in my era that it lined up like this. A credit person, a loan officer, and a realtor. You know what I mean? And when you listen to the doctor talk, sounds like she's been doing it there for 30 years. All of them has, you know what I mean? And it's always good to work with pretty people. So working with 2 out of 3 pretty people is a great thing. Great thing. So wanted to stick that in there.
Trust me, I know. Because you know, it like when your screen go blank every now and again, I don't feel it's joy, bro. A joy to come over me, like you know when you come off and you gotta go to the bathroom and your screen,
I got bladder problem.
I don't feel good.
Okay, so and I don't want to keep the viewers too long. I really appreciate all the information we do, but like I said, the live is to touch on this, put it in you guys' consciousness, bury it deep, plant the seeds, and then go and let it grow in front of you Sunday at the brunch with Dr. Yamilsa. And I really appreciate you, doctor, for coming on. enjoying some time with us. I see on Facebook all the time. I actually thought you were like 30 something years old. I ain't even like to you.
I'm about to be 50.
You know what I mean? So like you look really good for 50.
Thank you.
Really good for 50. That means there was less stress in your life. You did a lot of things right.
You know
what I mean?
something?
And right.
Something that I learned many years ago. Hugo we grew up to, like, his kids are my god kids, my kids are his god kids. Hugo taught me this many
Wait,
years.
who, Hugo Hatch?
That's right. Yes. Hugo taught me this many years ago. You either can or you can't. Okay. So you either pick. You either can or you can't, but you don't stress. You either can or you can't. Okay.
Right.
Hey, real quick, the buyers brunch coming up on Sunday. We're gonna have a wealth of information, a whole lot. You have mortgage people there.
Yes.
You have realtors there. You have myself there talking about credit, and for a lot of you guys who want to get into real estate investing, not necessarily you buying a home to live in, but you want to become an investor. We buying properties, selling properties. We're going to have a hard money lender there. And what hard money means is when you try to get approved for a loan to buy a commercial property or a property to flip real quick, is a different type of mortgage you're gonna get from a regular FHA or VA or whatever. It's called hard money. Sonii could help you guys with that as well. But this guy gonna really go into the depth of how to get approved for a hard money loan, what you could use your hard money loan to buy, how to flip, all that type of good stuff, man. So if you're in the Atlanta area and you cannot afford to miss this free event. Okay? At the end of the day, it's free.
It's free. These events don't come free. This one is free.
Let me say this. I don't get a lot of messages in my inbox. Kyle, what you think about this? Kyle, what you think about this? Kyle, they trying to buy a house here. Kyle, what you think about this? What do you think about the market up there? Kyle, what you think? And I don't respond when I can. But if I don't see you in this room come Sunday, don't come in my inbox and ask me nothing about real estate.
And this is free knowledge. Free knowledge, okay? Some people don't like to share. Some people like to hoard information. Kyle, myself, Damaris, and Joseph is about to put you on to free game. And my team, because Unica, the name of my company is Unica Realty, and I have a team of 5 agents, okay, that will be on hand sharing information. Of my agents, 3 are from St. Thomas, 1 is from Jamaica, 1 is from Trinidad. So my team is mostly Caribbean women.
Great. You know what? One of the viewers was wondering if you guys were going to take the show on the road. I suspect that you will, right?
Yes,
I suspect that you guys will be in St. Thomas. I suspect that you guys might be in Orlando. It might be in Houston. I already seen it being successful. I had a lot of people talking about it. There's a lot of buzz. There's 50 people showing up already. That's a lot. Okay. So I suspect that the gang would go on the road, and I think it's very much needed. Especially for our community, the Caribbean community, understanding the power that we have and what we're missing without the knowledge, and to go and gain this knowledge from these successful individuals, and not just successful, but they care. They care about you being successful, not them being successful off of you. You know what I'm saying? So I would encourage you guys to go. And I just want to say, extend another thank you to Dr. Yamilsa Roebuck, from St. Thomas, to be exact. You know what I mean? For coming on the live and taking her time out of her evening to share with us these positive information, this informative stuff. Along with Sonii coming on the screen finally. You know when we first started, Doctor. Sonii here couldn't get Sonii on the screen, you know. You do my hair.
I don't know why she has such a beautiful
so pretty.
face. I don't know wrong with her.
She's so pretty, you know. Like, what makeup, Sonii? You don't even wear makeup, dude. Like, what are you talking about? Like, come on the screen. You know what I mean? So I'm happy that she's on the screen and she's able to articulate all the stuff that she does. Just doesn't handle our business for Caribbean Trust podcast. And this is one of the most powerful things I want to say, and I want to say this to all women out there who are thinking about getting into the real estate game or any business. Listen, Sonii is a wife, and she has 3 little kids, and she does it all. Okay, and she do not complain at all. And I'm not saying that you can't complain, but I'm saying that if she could balance her family because Sonii is going to cook. It's not like she's not gonna miss cooking, you know. She's not gonna miss preparing meals for them in the morning. She's not gonna miss taking. Sonii will go to school. I will be asleep over here. She will go take her to school. I'll come upstairs in the morning to see my grandmother, and Sonii be sitting on the couch, here doing her computer work until these children come out of school. Like, I don't know how she'll do it. I thank the gods that I am a man, okay? Because them children will be destitute if you leave it up to me, okay? So I want to commend you ladies, because Doctor, I know your children are older and you've done it, okay? Because my mom's a teacher, so you being in education and being higher up and handling all these stuff is just a lot. You know what I mean? And then to be a wife and a mom, and I can't even think about it. And you want me to get a house?
I was a wife. I ain't a wife.
You was okay. Well, you know, once a wife is always a wife. You know what I mean? You already stamped that. You wifey material. It doesn't even matter now. Some people never was. Okay, so they shouldn't even have anything to say. But I really wanted to commend you guys for even putting your faces out there and encouraging other people to be as successful, getting into the homeowner businesses. I mean, I'm not gonna call Kyle's name a lot, you know what I mean? Because don't want anybody focusing on him too much, you know.
Right, man, I'd like to share this last thing here because I think we don't understand strength is in numbers. And I always send out to my girlfriends like a five unit townhome. 5 townhomes for sale for 800,000. Send it out to my group of girlfriends because you know your net worth is your network. Okay, surround your people with like vision. Send it out to them and say, "Wow, you think about it?" Say we all could bring a certain amount and we could own this entire block. You know, own the block of townhomes. So when you think about investing, reach out to your friends who you know have the money but don't have the knowledge. Break it down to them and teach them how we could flip this $10 into $5,000. And breaking it down to them. But I think that's something we definitely should look into. Getting your solid ones, your day ones, your people who you know good for it, and invest together. If you can't do it by yourself, you could do it to other people, and you still gonna get a return out of it.
Thank you for that information. So on behalf of Caribbean Currency, Kyle, Sonii, and myself, I want to thank you guys for joining us once again. We come on every Thursday at 8 p.m. Honored to have Dr. Yamilsa, and I just love to say Dr. Yamilsa. I feel like when somebody becomes a doctor, it's just like a really cool accomplishment. So very honored to have the doctor on here to share with us everything that she has done, and also to let you guys know Sunday, the brunch, the knowledge, and all those things. So once again, I want to say thank you for joining us. Thank you for sharing the live. Thank you for commenting. Thank you for participating. Thank you for spreading the word. And thank you for being a part of our community. And we'll see you guys again next Thursday.
Good night, everyone.
Good night.